In a village nestled between rolling hills and whispering forest, there lived a young man named Kwesi. Now, Kwesi wasn't rich in coins or cattle, but he was rich in charm. His smile could outshine the sun, and his laugh was as warm as the evening fire. But Kwesi had a problem. His pockets were as empty as a desert well in the dry season. One hot afternoon, when the sun was high and tempers were short, Kwesi found himself arguing with Adusa, the cloth merchant. Adusa's stall was a rainbow of fabrics, each more beautiful than the last. Kwesi's eyes fell on a strip of Kent cloth, blue as the sky and gold as the harvest. Adusa, my friend, Kwesi said, with a voice as smooth as shea butter, surely you can spare this small piece for a loyal customer. Adusa's face wrinkled like a dried mango. You haven't bought so much as a thread from me in months, Kwesi. No money, no cloth. That's my rule. Now, what happened next was strange as a fish climbing a tree. As Kwesi opened his mouth to reply, something changed. His words glowed golden, like honey in the sunlight. They flowed from his lips like the great river after the rains, sweet and unstoppable. But Adusa, Kwesi said, think of the joy this cloth will bring. When I wear it, everyone will ask where I got such beauty. I tell them of Adusa, the most generous merchant in all the land. Your kindness will be known far and wide, bringing you more customers than the stars in the sky. As Kwesi spoke, Adusa's eyes grew wide and glassy. The wrinkles smoothed from his face, replaced by a dreamy smile. Without a word, he caught the Kent cloth and handed it to Kwesi. Take it, my friend, Adusa said, his voice far away. And tell everyone of Adusa's generosity. Kwesi walked away, the beautiful cloth in his hands, his head spinning like a top. What had just happened? His words, they had turned to gold, and Adusa had fallen under his spell like a snake charmed by a flute. That night, Kwesi couldn't sleep. His mind was full of golden words and the power they held. As the first light of dawn painted the sky, he made up his mind. He would seek out Nana Ose, the village griot, keeper of stories and wisdom as old as the hills. Nana Ose lived at the edge of the village, in a round hut decorated with symbols and signs that seemed to move in the corner of your eye. Kwesi found the old man sitting under a massive baobab tree, its branches reaching to the heavens like gnarled fingers. "Oh, young Kwesi," Nana Ose said, his voice cracked with age but strong as an old lion's roar. "I've been expecting you." Kwesi's eyes widened. "You have?" Nana Ose chuckled, a sound like pebbles in a god. "The wind whispers many secrets, child. Sit, and tell me what troubles you." So Kwesi sat on a root of the great baobab and told Nana Ose everything. As he spoke, the old griot's eyes grew sharp, like a hawk spotting a mouse in the grass. When Kwesi finished, Nana Ose was quiet for a long time. The silence stretched like a shadow at sunset. Finally, the old man spoke. "You have been given the honey tongue, Kwesi. It is a gift as rare as rain in the desert, and twice as dangerous." Kwesi leaned forward, his heart pounding like a drum. Dangerous. But how can words be dangerous? Nana Ose's laugh was as dry as old bones. "Oh, child. Words are the most powerful magic in all the world. They can build kingdoms or burn them to ash. Your words now have the power to shape reality itself. But beware, every sweet lie breeds a bitter truth." Kwesi frowned, confused. "I don't understand, Nana Ose." The old griot leaned close, his breath smelling of herbs and ancient secrets. "Listen well, young one. Your golden words can bend people to your will, make them see the world as you wish. But for every untruth you spin, a harsh reality will grow. Like a field of thorns from seeds of roses. Use this gift wisely, or it will destroy all you hold dear." But Kwesi, oh, Kwesi. His head was full of dreams of wealth and power. He heard Nana Ose's warning, but it fell on ears already ringing with the sound of his own golden voice. He thanked the old griot and left, his mind spinning with possibilities. In the days that followed, Kwesi's life changed faster than a chameleon's colors. His golden words flowed like honey, sweet and irresistible. He convinced the chief to make him an advisor, whispering golden suggestions that always seemed to benefit Kwesi most of all. His hut grew larger, his clothes finer. Soon, he was the talk of the village. But it wasn't all smooth as a calm lake. There was one person Kwesi's words couldn't charm, Oma, the chief's daughter. Oma was as beautiful as the first star of evening, with eyes that sparkled like sun on water and a laugh that made flowers bloom. And oh, how Kwesi's heart beat for her. But when he tried his golden words on Oma, she just laughed. Oh, Kwesi, she'd say, shaking her head. Your words are pretty, but they slide off me like water off a duck's back. If you want to impress me, show me who you really are. Kwesi didn't understand. Everyone else fell under his spell, why not Oma? But her resistance only made him want her more. He showered her with gifts and compliments, each wrapped in his golden words. Oma accepted the gifts with grace but kept Kwesi at arm's length. There's something not right about you lately, Kwesi, she told him one evening as they walked by the river. You've changed. Sometimes I wonder if the Kwesi I knew is still in there. Her words stung Kwesi like a scorpion, but he brushed them off. What did she know? He was more powerful than ever. But power, my listeners, power is like palm wine. A little tastes sweet, but too much can poison your mind. One day, Kwesi's childhood friend Kofi came to him with exciting news. Kofi had arranged a trade deal with a merchant from a far-off city. It would bring great wealth to Kofi and his family. But Kwesi, his heart dark with greed, saw an opportunity. That night, he visited the merchant, his golden words flowing like a river in flood. Surely, Kwesi said, his voice shimmering with power, you'd rather deal with me, the chief's trusted advisor, than a simple farmer like Kofi. The merchant's eyes glazed over, and he nodded dreamily. Yes, yes. You are right. I will trade with you, not Kofi. What Kwesi didn't know was that Oma had followed him, curious about his late-night wanderings. She watched from the shadows, her heart breaking as she saw Kwesi betray his friend. The next day, when Kofi learned he'd lost the deal to Kwesi, his cries of anguish echoed through the village. But Kwesi didn't care. His pockets were heavy with gold, his voice sweet with lies. But remember, my dear listeners, what Nana Ose said. Every sweet lie breeds a bitter truth. And oh, how bitter those truths would be. It started small. Crops that should have flourished withered in the fields. Arguments broke out among families that had lived in peace for generations. A sense of unease settled over the village like a heavy mist. Nana Ose watched it all from his hut at the edge of the village. One evening, as Kwesi strutted by in his fine robes, the old griot called out to him. The bitter truths are ripening, Kwesi, Nana Ose said, his voice heavy with sorrow. Soon, you'll taste them all. Kwesi laughed, tossing a coin to the old man. Keep your gloomy predictions, old one. Can't you see how well I'm doing? But that night, as Kwesi lay in his fine bed, something strange happened. He felt a tickle in his throat, like a feather brushing his insides. He opened his mouth to cough, and to his horror, a swarm of bees flew out. These were no ordinary bees. They were made of pure golden light, buzzing with the power of all Kwesi's lies. They swirled around him, their angry hum drowning out his screams. When Kwesi tried to speak, to use his golden words, the bees stung his tongue, filling his mouth with pain. As the sun rose, Kwesi stumbled out of his hut, unable to speak. The bees had vanished, but they had taken his golden voice with them. When he opened his mouth, no sound came out. At first, people thought Kwesi was playing a game. But as days passed and he remained silent, whispers spread through the village like wildfire. It's a curse, some said. It's justice, others replied. Kofi, still bitter from Kwesi's betrayal, stirred up anger among the villagers. See how he deceived us all, Kofi cried. His silver tongue has turned to lead. The very people who had fawned over Kwesi now turned their backs on him. His fine clothes were torn, his big hut emptied of all but a sleeping mat. Kwesi had never felt so alone. But there was one person who didn't turn away. Oma, her heart still aching from Kwesi's betrayal but unable to ignore his suffering, came to him. "Oh, Kwesi," she said, her eyes full of sadness. "What have you done to yourself?" Kwesi wanted to explain, to apologize, to tell Oma how much he cared for her. But no words would come. For the first time, he understood the true power of words, and the pain of not having them. As if Kwesi's troubles weren't enough, a great drought fell upon the land. The river shrank to a trickle, the crops withered in the fields, and the village well ran dry. People's tempers grew as short as the water supply. The chief called a meeting under the great baobab tree. Everyone argued about what to do, their voices rising like dust in the dry wind. Kwesi sat at the edge of the crowd, silent and ignored. But as he listened, an idea began to form in his mind. He remembered an old story Nana Ose had told him long ago, about a hidden spring deep in the forest. Without his golden words, how could he make people understand? Kwesi stood up, waving his arms to get attention. People fell silent, staring at him with mixtures of curiosity and scorn. Kwesi pointed to himself, then to the forest. He mimed drinking water, then pointed to the village. "What's he trying to say?" someone asked. I think he knows where to find water," Oma said, watching Kwesi closely. The chief looked skeptical. "Can we trust him? After everything?" Oma stood tall, her voice ringing out clear and strong. "I will go with him. If there's a chance to save our village, we must take it." And so, as the sun rose on a sky empty of clouds, Kwesi led a group into the forest. Oma walked beside him, her presence giving him strength. They traveled all day, Kwesi leading them down hidden paths and through thick underbrush. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in reds and golds, they heard it. The soft murmur of running water. Kwesi's heart leaped in his chest. He ran forward, the others close behind. There, in a hidden grove, a spring bubbled up from the earth. Its water was clear as crystal and sweet as morning dew. The villagers cried out in joy, falling to their knees to drink. Oma turned to Kwesi, her eyes shining. "You did it, Kwesi. You saved us all." Kwesi smiled, his heart full to bursting. And then, a miracle happened. He opened his mouth and found he could speak again. But his words were different now. They didn't glow golden or bend people's will. They were simple, honest, and true. "I'm sorry," Kwesi said, his voice rough from disuse. "For everything." Oma took his hand, squeezing it gently. "I know," she said. "I forgive you." When they returned to the village, leading the people to the hidden spring, everything changed. The chief thanked Kwesi for his bravery and forgave his past misdeeds. Even Kofi, seeing how Kwesi had helped the village, let go of his anger. In the days that followed, rain returned to the land. The crops grew tall and green, and laughter once again filled the village air. Kwesi worked harder than he ever had, helping to build an aqueduct from the spring to the village. And Oma? Well, she and Kwesi grew closer every day. Their love blossomed like a water lily after the rains, strong and true. One evening, as the sun set in a blaze of color, Kwesi visited Nana Ose. The old griot sat under his baobab tree, a knowing smile on his face. "Oh, young Kwesi," Nana Ose said. "Or perhaps not so young anymore, eh? You've learned much." Kwesi nodded, sitting beside the old man. "I have, Nana Ose. I understand now what you meant about sweet lies and bitter truths." Nana Ose chuckled, the sound warm and rich. "And what of your golden tongue? Do you miss it?" Kwesi thought for a moment, then shook his head. "No," he said. "I found something far more valuable. Truth, love, the trust of my people. These are worth more than all the gold in the world." "Wise words, my boy," Nana Ose said, his eyes twinkling. "Remember, the sweetest words are those spoken from the heart." As Kwesi walked home, where Oma waited for him, he felt truly rich for the first time in his life. His pockets might not have been full of gold, but his heart was full of love. And that, my dear listeners, is a wealth that no magic can create and no curse can take away. So remember, when you speak, let your words be true. For in truth, there is a power greater than any magic. A power that can change hearts, heal wounds, and bring people together. And that, my children, is the end of our tale. May its lessons be as sweet on your tongue as honey and as lasting in your heart as the ancient baobab tree. Until next time, dream sweetly and speak truly. For in our words, we create the world.